Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Annie would like to introduce you to Maurice King, who prefers to be known as David Adkins. And fair warning, ladies and gentlemen, if you're driving or you're thinking of eating or drinking during this video, it's probably best if you don't. Hello, beautiful, said David. Good evening, said Annie. How are you spending your day? He asked. It's nearly 11 p.m, said Annie. Where are you originally from? And where do you live? Annie had just started typing, "How are you?" and hit the enter key by mistake. Why do you want to know where I'm originally from? She said. Are you looking for people from a specific place? I live in Shaftesbury, that's in Dorset in England. Where do you live? Adding in brackets, I don't care where you're from. That, of course, went straight over our man's head, because, of course, he was going to tell her that anyway. In reply to Annie asking if he was looking for people from a specific place, he said, "No, I'm just asking." And in reply to her saying she lived in Shaftesbury, he said, "Such a beautiful place you live, and how's the weather there? Do you like it there? I'm originally from Middletown, New York. I'm a British American. My dad was born and raised in Middletown, while my mum was from North London, UK, but I live in Port St. Lucie, Florida." Where in North London did your mum come from? And for once, we got a sensible answer, ladies and gentlemen. Camden Town, he said. Do you know Shaftesbury? Asked Annie, because he'd said it was a beautiful place. And there's a growing trend for scammers to say what he's about to say. Yes, there are a lot of nice people there. When did you come here? She asked. Or have you lived here? Middletown, New York, he said. What? Asked Annie. I asked when you came to Shaftesbury or if you've lived here. Oh, that was 10 years back, he said. And of course, if they claim to have visited the place where you live, you can always catch them out. I went there for a visit, he said. Not very long ago, said Annie. What places did you visit? Did you go up Zigzag Hill or down Wonky Lane or visit the distillery? One of those is a real place. The other two aren't, but I'll let you do your own research. I don't actually remember, he said, but down Wonky. I'll give you a clue. That's one of the fake ones. Are you from Shaftesbury, he asked. No, I live in Puddletown, she said. I just said I live in Shaftesbury as a random name. Of course I live in Shaftesbury. Yes, Puddletown is also real, guys. That's nice, he said. Whatever that means, replied Annie. How long have you been there? He asked. I'm 555, typed Annie. No, I'm not, she added. I'm 55, finger trouble. I'm 60 years, he said. What are you using to text me? Because I can see that you're not on Facebook Messenger. I'm using my laptop, said Annie. Okay, what's your marital status? Do you have kids? What are you using? She asked. I'm divorced with grown-up twins. Facebook Messenger? Wow! That's really nice. You're truly blessed with children. They must mean so much to you. Children are such a huge blessing from God. How long have you been on divorced? We were divorced 8 years ago, she said. He was a two-timing bastard. What really happened between you guys? He asked. Mind your own business, said Annie. So he sent her 4 laughing faces, followed by, I'm just asking, why being rude? Excuse me, pal. It's not the sort of question you ask someone anyway. Why are you asking personal questions? I hardly know you, said Annie. I'll tell you anything you want to know about me, he said. I'd prefer you to act like a proper gentleman and apologise. I am a widower, he said. I lost my wife through polycystic kidney disease 3 years ago, the latest scammer fashionable disease. I was emotionally devastated when my wife died, but I stay firm and strong for my daughter. She made me feel so happy and keep me going ever since I lost my wife. I'm sorry, he said, apologising at last. OK, thanks, said Annie. What do you do? OK, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Fasten your seatbelts. I work at hyperbaric welder and supervisor. Repair of boat drilling of crude oil in the middle of the high sea, obviously. Do you still work or retired? Oh, you didn't understand that, said Annie. What do you do? I work on the checkouts in a supermarket. We do installation of pipelines in the middle of the high sea, repair of boat drilling of crude oil also. What does middle of the high sea, repair of boat drilling mean? Asked Annie. You mean you repair ships while they're still at sea? We do installation of pipelines in the middle of the high sea, he said. Why are you installing pipelines on boats? Asked Annie. For drilling of crude oil, he said. I thought the pipelines were on the bottom of the high seas. I didn't realise they were on boats. Guess you know a lot, he said. What? Asked Annie. Why are you acting smart and you're not smart? Said our scammer, who was trying to act smart and definitely wasn't smart. Am I wrong? Asked Annie. Pipelines aren't on the bottom of the seas, they're on boats instead. And then, in reply to him telling her that she wasn't smart, she said, How rude. I'm trying to understand what your job involves. Do you have a friend who is working in the sea? Asked our scammer, hoping that she didn't. You? Asked Annie. Or aren't we friends? Why are you being rude to me? I'm just trying to understand your job. Why are you installing pipelines on boats? You won't even let me explain to you how it's done, he said. We've asked you several times. You're just rude instead of explaining, said Annie. Not on boat. OK, he said. Don't you know what is installing of pipelines in the middle of the high sea? No, said Annie. How would I know that? I thought you know already, by the way you're sounding, he said. Well, she sure isn't learning anything from you, pal. And I'm waiting for you to explain to me how it's done, she continued. What on earth are you talking about? You told me you installed pipelines in the high seas and something about boats. I just asked you to explain what you meant. Instead, you decide to be rude to me and then accuse me of not letting you explain. So explain, please. Install pipelines means I'm drilling into the ground to find crude oil. Why I find crude oil will put the pipe in it, he said. Answers in the comments, and please keep them clean. I don't understand what that means, said Annie. Was that a question? And the boat I talk about is doing welding underwater for any leakage. OK, said Annie, but I still don't understand what why I find crude oil will put the pipe in it means. And I'll give you plenty of time to explain, she said, going off to make a cup of tea. Do you know where fuel came from? He asked. What has that got to do with putting the pipe in it? And I don't understand if you were asking me a question, quoting why I find crude oil. I don't know why you find crude oil. Maybe because you're looking for it? Crude oil generates heat, Google helpfully informed him. Heating this material and other petroleum products can warm homes in colder weather, making modern living possible, even in colder climates. This oil also produces energy. Many petroleum products are energy carriers. I have no idea who wrote that. I'm going to have to go and look for it. Probably a 10-year-old child, I should think. OK, huge apologies to 10-year-old children. Here it is. It's in an article headed The Uses and Benefits of Crude Oil, helpfully written by an author called SEO. In other words, it was just a keyword-stuffed article that this oil company put on their website in the hope that people might find them if they were searching Google for keywords related to oil. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. OK, said Annie, but I still don't understand why I find crude oil will put the pipe in it means. What pipe? Where'd you put it? On land, Google continued. Oil can be drilled with an apparatus called an oil rig or drilling rig. Offshore, oil is drilled from an oil platform. Most modern wells use an air rotary drilling rig, which can operate 24 hours a day. In this process, engines power a drill bit. And if you think I was trying not to laugh there, I know what comes next. I still don't understand why I find crude oil will put the pipe in it means. What pipe? Where'd you put it? Please answer my question. What does why I find crude oil will put the pipe in it mean? And please don't make me ask again. After drilling the ground, crude oil will come out, and we will put in the pipe where the crude oil is come out, he said. Well, I suppose that's a passable explanation. Phew, at last, said Annie. Thank you. What's an air rotary drilling rig? I've heard of a rotary clothesline. I have one in my garden, but I've never heard of an air rotary drilling rig. Google stepped in again. Air rotary drilling is a method used to drill deep boreholes in rock formations. Borehole advancement is achieved by the rapid rotation of a drill bit, which is mounted at the end of the drill pipe. The drill... Oh, that's Sophie's opinion of what's about to come next. The drill bit cuts the formation into small pieces, called cuttings. Where did you copy and paste that from? Asked Annie. In reply to Annie saying, but I've never heard of an air rotary drilling rig, his reply was, why do you have a rotary drilling rig? And in reply to her asking where had he copied and pasted it from, he said, I read it. In reply to him asking her why she had a rotary drilling rig, Annie, of course, said, now what on earth are you talking about? To which he replied with 3 question marks. Annie, as she often does, as all my girls often do, replied one word at a time, and curiously enough, sometimes that actually makes them read it. What on earth are you talking about? She asked. It didn't help our man, who managed to quote the bit where she'd said, I've heard of a rotary clothesline, I have one in my garden. He replied with 5 question marks. Yes, said Annie, I have a rotary clothesline. Are you really that totally idiotically thick that you don't know the difference between a clothesline and an oil pipeline? It's a mistake, he said, realising what he'd done. Sorry, my apologies. You're hard work to talk to, said Annie. I need to lie down. It's nearly midnight and it's time for bed. Good night. Can I text on email if you don't mind, he said. Do you have Google Chat on your phone? And so, of course, they moved to Chat. Over on Chat, our man, who'd already had 2 names, thought he'd use a third. Smiles Nature. I'll make a note of that. That could be a contender for the annual 2023 awards ceremony in the category of most ridiculous name. Hello, Annie, he said. It's me, David Adkins, from Facebook. Good morning, said Annie. Good morning, and how was your night? Hope you slept well. Why up so early? He said. As you can see if you're looking at the screen, it was 8:20 in the morning when he typed that. Early? Said Annie, as she was eating her breakfast. It's almost 9 a.m. The time over here in Cuba, where I work, is 3:58 a.m. in the morning, he said. What's your plans for today? Cuba? You told me you're in Florida. I'm going to wrap Christmas presents and buy all the things I need for Christmas, said Annie. Yes, I live in Florida, but I've been working on a contract job in Cuba with few of my workers. Hope you don't have to stress yourself out. Are you working a night shift? Asked Annie. Yes, with few of my workers, he said. I do. Installation of pipelines in the middle of the high sea. Do you know anything about my job? No, said Annie. Why would I know about your job? I barely even know who you are. Do you know anything about my job? I don't know much about your job, he said. Hope you don't mind telling me more about your job. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. So Annie told him about her job. You know, as in she told him what she does. People unload the contents of their trolley onto the conveyor belt. She said, I pick up the items, scan them, and place them the other side of the scanner. People pick up their items and put them in their shopping bags. The till tells me how much they need to pay, and they either use their card to pay, their phone, or they give me cash. If they give me cash, I give them change. Perhaps you could tell me more about your job, a proper description of what you actually do at work on a daily basis. Oh, and don't make me ask several times like you did on Facebook. It gets very boring and tedious. Wow! Such an interesting job you got there, he said. Hope you don't have to stress yourself out, because for me, I have my workers to help me out, to reduce the stress. Not the bully kind of boss, he said. Guess what? We do installation of pipelines in the middle of the high sea, and drilling of crude oil, and more. I'm currently on a contract job here in Cuba, and I've been here for 2 weeks. I'm working really hard to finish before the Christmas celebration. My goodness, a 3-week contract in Cuba. Just about time to get to know the people on the rig. Certainly not time to do very much work. I asked you for a proper description of your job, like I told you exactly what I do, said Annie. Keep trying, Annie, keep trying. That means you work in the airport, said our man. Airport? Said Annie. What on earth are you talking about now? Never mind, he said. I asked you for a proper description of your job, like I told you exactly what I do, she said, copying and pasting. And if you're looking at the screen, she copied and pasted a line she didn't mean to as well. I thought I gave you an explanation of my job, said our man, who couldn't explain his job because he had no idea what he was doing. I work as hyperbaric welder and supervisor, repair of boat, drilling of crude oil in the middle of the high sea. No, said Annie, you told me you install pipelines. Like I told you, I work on the checkouts. Then you asked me to explain my job, so I told you exactly what I do and how I do it. I'd like you to do me the same courtesy, please. You keep telling me about the boat drilling, then telling me you don't use boats. Describe to me exactly what you did at work yesterday. I didn't work yesterday, or I was doing paperwork. Doesn't count. I told you before, LOL, he said. Like I told you, I'm an independent contractor. I do all kinds of job, like engineering. My job, especially, is about drilling of crude oil, and others, LOL. Well, not your field. I think you don't know about it, LOL. And I asked you to describe exactly what you did at work yesterday. So Annie explained to me how you do your job, as I told you how I did mine. And now I don't know about it. That's why I'm asking you to explain it to me. I don't even know what you mean by drill of crude oil and others. What are the others you drill? And I was so hoping that you might make more sense on chat than you did on Facebook. I can't really imagine why I thought you would. For me, I will tell you now about it, he said. I'm a machine operator. I'm the one who operation the drilling machine in order to get crude oil. See a picture of it. Let me show you. Finally, said Annie, all that nonsense about being a supervisor and drilling boats or whatever ridiculous stuff you were trying to impress me with. You're a machine operator. And so he sent her a photo of a man with lots of equipment. Perhaps I should rephrase that. He sent her a photograph of a man with lots of pipes. This is getting worse. What do you mean, nonsense? He said. Well, all that nonsense you were trying to tell me about drilling boats and drilling for others and all the rest of the rubbish you thought might impress me. A man thought he'd change the subject. Have you met any men before? He asked. No, said Annie, I've never met a man. My twins were an immaculate conception. That, of course, went straight over our man's head. Okay, he said, but I keep explanation. You are not understanding. I am not impressing you, but telling you how I work and the nature of how it works. So please forget about it. Please, it's not your field. Please turn off this conversation. Ask me anything and everything I will answer. I have explained how I work and the nature of my job. Please. Not even a full stop at the end. No, said Annie, not once have you explained to me what you did at work yesterday. What exactly you did. So no, we won't forget about it. And you definitely are not impressing me. I told you exactly how I do my job. I expect the same courtesy from you, not a load of meaningless generic drivel. A full and proper description of what you did at work yesterday, please. That doesn't include paperwork, or I didn't work yesterday. And this is your last chance. You're so boring to talk to, and it's so tedious having to ask an experienced, mature man what he did at work. You're not okay, he said. I think so. You check yourself. Get lost and stop stressing my life. Good idea, said Annie. I was going to ask you to explain to me what you were doing when that photo was taken, but obviously you don't know. I'm sorry that trying to work out what you do at work is so stressful. I've never met a machine operator that didn't even know how the machine they're operating works. I was checking some pipe that needs to be fixed, said our man, at last, trying to think of something. You get it. And I had some headache last night after I finished working with my boss. How long have you been divorced now? Phew, said Annie. Why did it take you so long to tell me that? I daren't ask how you do that. I'm guessing you have to dive, but you might use some remote means. But I wouldn't expect an answer, so I won't ask. I've been divorced for 7 years. I think she said 8 over on Facebook. From the man I was never with. I'm so sorry about that, he said. Well, that is such a long time. How is this possible? With such a beautiful lady? Are all men blind over there, or what? He wasn't blind, said Annie. He has his eyes on his secretary. She's 20 years younger than me. Oh, sorry about that. You really caught my attention, he said. Please, I will not let you go. Believe me. Oh, yes, said Annie. You're the most believable man I've met for I don't know how long. Have you met any man who is interested in you on Facebook, he said, since you're divorced? Hundreds, said Annie. I'm spoilt for choice. I'm trying to work out who has the most money. I want someone who'll buy me nice things. My ex was a tight-fisted bastard. What kind of nice things do you want? He asked. Some nice jewellery, a new car. I'd love to travel to interesting places and stay in nice hotels. OK, fine. Let me tell you this, he said. I bought a brand new Lexus 350 2019. So obviously it wasn't that brand new. It's 3 years old. If you want it, then assure that you will get me that place. I never said anything about getting you a place, said Annie. See the pic. Let me find a way to send it to you as soon as possible, said our man, sensing a way to ask for money. What place are you talking about? Said Annie. Or maybe I should ask, who else are you talking to? I'm talking with just you, and you alone. Here is the picture, he said, sending her a photograph of the car. Let me know when I will work on how to get it there for you. Besides, you have to give me correct address, he said. Which country is that registered in? Asked Annie. It's a brand new code, not registered yet, so let me know if you like it, then send me everything with force, then get your new vibes, please, please, he said. Which country is it in? Asked Annie. It's United States, he said. As ever, only one state. Then there is no point sending it here, said Annie. We drive on the other side of the road. You need to buy one here. Send me the address. Let me see what I can do. Give me your address and full name to add in your documents of cars, he said. You need to find a car I can use first, said Annie, and you know my name. LOL, I understand, said our man, who clearly didn't. But let me get this one to you, please. I can't use that one, said Annie. We drive on the other side of the road. You'll need to buy one here. I don't have much on that to buy you another car because I have it. Please, you will enjoy this car, believe me, he said. Aren't you reading what I'm saying? Said Annie, spacing it out. I can't use that one. We drive on the other side of the road. But thanks for the offer. Finally, our man got the point. OK, he said. I'm not looking for a man who doesn't have much on that to buy you another car, whatever that means, said Annie. Give me your address and name in full, he said, while Annie was typing. I'm looking for someone rich. You've got my name, and why do you need my address? I can't take care of you any time, any day, he said. Then you aren't the right man for me, said Annie. Yes, I know, so I know where to ship it, he said, proving that he hadn't got the point. Ship what? Asked Annie. Car, of course, he said. I will it there for you, OK? Please. I told you, said Annie, over and over and over and over. I cannot use that car. We drive on the other side of the road. What are your experience with men online here? On Facebook? He asked, changing the subject again. Dreadful, said Annie. So many of them don't even bother to read what I'm typing. And in case it's escaped your myopic notice, this isn't Facebook. Faced with that awful truth, our man disappeared. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it, please share it, please comment down below, and please subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you again in another video.